Have you ever wondered how the art jury process works for art exhibits? Because if you're a freelance artist, chances are you've applied to some exhibit or exhibition or competition or something where you've had to put together a proposal with your artwork. Well, through my career, I've sat on several juries, both as a decision maker and as an admin. And through that, I've learned several things that influence how I apply to exhibitions as an artist today. First, I want to share the most common way I've seen juries work. Of course, it doesn't always happen this way, but in the juries that I was involved with, this was the most common way. And that is that the decisions are based strictly on the artwork itself. So all the application paperwork is separated from the images. So it relieves any kind of bias regarding education, age, or anything else. And in these cases, the images are all run through very quickly, sometimes like 2 times, especially if they have a lot of applications. They'll give them each just like 5 seconds. That's it. And just a run through just so they can get a sense as to what kind of artwork they're working with. Next, they go through every image they were given at a slower pace and spend a little time with it. And then they might, at this point, take some time to make some notes, or they might even start the elimination process at a very broad level. So anything that they feel like, yeah, that piece absolutely has nothing to do with the exhibition that we're trying to plan, like the theme. If it's anything glaring like that, those pieces might get eliminated at this stage. The remaining artwork is then visited individually more slowly. And then the jurors make some notes. They might use a scorecard from the gallery or one that they have themselves. And after a few minutes of thinking, they'll start discussing the work. And this is the phase where more information about the artwork and artist is shared fast. So for example, if the jury wants to know how the piece will be displayed, the admin would read off that part of the artist statement. And this process eliminates even more artists. So the final round is all that's left, and usually just has a handful that need to be cut. This round gets into discussion of what pieces will make for a dynamic exhibit. So up until this phase, they're keeping the exhibition in mind, but they're really kind of looking at the quality of the work and the story that it's telling. And then this final one is where they really have to fine-tune which pieces create a dynamic exhibition space. Because as much as the artists are trying to say something with their work, the curators are trying to say something with their exhibition space. So they need to make sure the pieces all jive well together. And here are the 5 things I've learned from participating in this process. 1, make sure you have clear and high contrast images to submit. High contrast images stand out more in our mind, so I've witnessed juries naturally respond more positively to high contrast artwork, especially after a first quick run through of all the applicants. Now, of course, if your artwork is like a soft pastel and, it doesn't have a lot of dark colors, that's okay. You want it to be definitely representative of you and your style. But if you have choices, try to put something that has brighter colors or more contrast in it, because our eyes naturally are drawn to that. Only submit your best work and follow the guidelines for the opportunity. So for example, if the show is looking for physical artworks and they don't exhibit video, then don't submit your videos for consideration. It's surprising how many people submit work that really doesn't fit the criteria or what they were asking for. 3, organize your submissions strategically. I personally like my submissions to start with one very representative of my work overall. Then a piece that is sort of a wow submission, something I'm super proud of, that I've gotten a lot of attention for. I think it'll really wow them. And then end with a piece full of emotion, something that will really stay in their mind and remind them of me and my work. 4, make sure how it's displayed or created is clear, either through the photos or in the description. If the jury is unclear on how the piece will be hung or have other essential questions that can't be answered by the admin in your application, then they will find it much easier to eliminate your application earlier in the process. So you want to make sure it's very clear. And 5, celebrate your acceptance or dust yourself off if you're rejected. Exhibition spaces are rarely big enough to showcase all the amazing art that's available to share. Additionally, the jury needs to consider how all the accepted work plays and interacts with each other. They are designing an immersive story, and that means they have to consider other factors than just how great a single piece is. So don't get upset if your piece gets rejected. That's very obviously normal. Somebody has to be rejected. They can't fit everything in there. And I've seen several juries where they've had to reject really good pieces just because it was too similar to another artist's piece that they were already really committed to showing, or, it just was a little bit too much on the same theme as other pieces. So keep that in mind if you get rejected, because it's very common. So I hope this is helpful as you prepare your applications. And if I can be of any further help, please leave a comment below or consider subscribing for more art-related content. I'll see you in the next one.